Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Big Show, a podcast where we unravel the intricacies of life, dating, and just how to be a better man or woman. Today, we're going to talk about something very, very important, friendships. And we are going to dive deep into the signs that may suggest that your friends aren't as genuine as they may appear to be. My name is Jimmy Smith. I'm your host today on The Big Show, and today we're going to be embarking on a journey to explore those subtle cues, those unsaid words, and the overlooked actions that could be telling you more about your friendships than you may realize. You guys already know that friendships are a beautiful aspect of our lives, but let's face it, it's not as easy to discern between genuine connections and those that may not stand the test of time. I mean, have you guys ever found yourself questioning if your friends truly have your back? I'm sure you have. I know I have. Are there moments that leave you guys wondering if the laughter that you share is sincere or just a facade? Well, if you say yes, then you're not alone. And in this episode here, we're going to be unraveling the mystery behind identifying when your friends may not be as authentic as you believe them to be. So we're going to discuss red flags. We're going to share some personal stories, and we're going to equip you guys with the tools to navigate that delicate terrain of friendship with clarity and confidence. But before we begin, let me introduce a friend of my own, a man so important to the show that if he were to quit, we'd have to start calling it the Little Show. Oh, we have Dwayne Ward in the house to help me out. So, so not that the introduction, now that the introductions are out of the way, let's buckle up for an insightful journey into the world of connections. Because after all, life is way too short to surround yourself with anything but true friends. And in this episode, we're going to decipher the signals that your friends may not actually be your friends. Dwayne, there are definitely some signs that friends really aren't your friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's a person listening to this podcast right now that has not been in that situation at least once.
Oh, yeah.
It's common.
Yeah.
You know, we've all been around that friend that we're a little bit sus about.
Oh wow. A little sus. Okay.
Sus. I went with sus today. You know, these friends, man, these so-called friends, they seem like a friend, but then there's times where you just can't shake the feeling that they aren't being completely genuine.
Right.
And there's always like something that just feels a little bit off whenever you guys hang out, whenever you guys get together, you know. Yeah. It might even be getting a little bit more obvious lately because as we get older, we start to kind of see the red flags. We identify things. We get burned a bunch of times. And, you know, it's just you start to get a little bit better at kind of pointing out who your genuine friends are and who are the people there that are just trying to be a succubus with your energy, sometimes your finances, sometimes your time, you know. Yeah. Friends are too important to waste time on, and fake ones. Yeah. Fake one-sided friendships, you know, those got to go. We've got to push them out of our lives. So here are the signs, guys, that I want you guys to look out for, which will identify a friend who is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing. One of the signs that you guys would want to watch out for whenever you're trying to figure out if this person is actually a friend is they stand you up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We've all been there.
All
These
been there.
people, friends will flake on each other once in a while. Fair. Yeah. It's pretty standard procedure, but it's a different story altogether if there are no call, no show to things that are happening in your life, special events, get-togethers, birthdays, you know, things like that. These are people who will say that they're going to come over for a game night or something or make it to your birthday, and they just don't show up without saying a word.
Bail you out of jail? Oh, I didn't know if we were that part of the show yet. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And you know, some attributes are more important to other people than they are. For you, being bailed out of jail is extremely important.
Yeah.
It happens.
I'm not built for prison, so.
No, you're not. You are too good looking of a dude. You're not going to do well. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons for this kind of behavior, when people don't show up. And the most common one is that they're just really not a real friend to you.
Right.
So you're going to have to watch out for those who consistently stand you up. Another one too, and this really holds true for guys. I mean, it does for females, but guys, I mean,
Bro code.
I mean, here it is, man. They spill your secrets.
Oh, that's yeah.
Man, you don't get many chances, do you?
Hit the road, Jack. That's
it's the number one rule of a guy, and probably for girls too, but it's definitely guy code, just like you said. If you tell your friends something confidential, you expect it to stay that way.
Right.
And if you find out that someone spilled the beans on something that you wanted to confidential, man, it's
no coming back from that.
You really can't. I mean, look, we all know how it is when we're in relationships with the opposite sex, but it holds true to the same thing: guy, girl, girl. And what I mean by that is, and Dwayne and I have talked about this a few times, it takes a long time to build trust with someone. It takes years to really, truly trust someone, but it could take one instance to wipe it all away. And when you break that trust, even if it's a little one, it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily ruin the relationship. It all depends on what actually happened, what actually was said. But here's what it does mean: you never get 100% of trust back.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to do like a little nuclear controversial thing here and just get your opinion on this. Okay, so we got bro code. Guy tells another guy in total confidence about X, whatever that is, and we can kind of break that out. What about if he has a significant other, and is it okay for him to tell her that? Because men and women are supposed to. I mean, in relationships, they're supposed to share their secrets and all that. What do you think?
I think that's a really good point. And so let's talk about that. And look,
it's a hard one.
It's a hard one because there's loyalty that is done to your friends and loyalty done for your wife. It is not a good idea to share things with your significant other that your best friend expects confidentiality in. There are things that if they were not said, it could hurt the person that you're with, your wife, or if you're a woman, your husband. Mm-hmm. In that situation, you always default to the person that you made a vow with for the rest of your life. But in 98% of all the things that are coming from your best friend or a good friend of yours that they actually be, to keep a tight lip on, it's not going to jeopardize your marriage. It's not going to jeopardize or hurt someone that you love, your wife. So there's just really it kind of falls under that need to know category, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think it's perfectly fine for you to have. I mean, let me just share my personal stories in my life. When I was married, there were things that my best friend told me that my wife never knew. Mm. And there's really no reason for her to know. It didn't affect her at all.
Right. Okay.
Now, if there's something that was told to me that would have affected my marriage in a negative way, or her, then the default is I'm going to always have loyalty to my wife first because I made that covenant. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, it does. I mean, and I'd love to hear what other folks. I see some chatter in the messaging boards on that. I'd love to hear like stories and opinions on that. I mean, let's go for a crazy one. So let's say, all right. I find out I'm talking to a buddy of mine, and I got close circle of friends, and my buddy. And me and her, me and my wife, we go out with him and his wife or girlfriend, whatever. And I find out that he told me in confidence that he cheated on her. Like last week, they went to Vegas and blah, whatever happened. He's like, dude, I don't know what to do about it. Whatever. What do you think? Should that be I talk to Brandy and go, dude, Bob just he stepped out or he did whatever.
Okay, hold on. So I'll make sure I understood your question. You've got a friend, he went to Vegas, he cheated on his wife, and you want to know if you should tell your wife about that.
Yes, because we're all friends, all four of us.
No. Ooh. I say no.
Okay.
I say no. Because there's not a need to know. And here's what could potentially happen. You start sharing with people, and then they start sharing with other people.
Oh yeah. The best way to keep a secret is not to tell anybody.
Right.
So that's how you can ensure it. So, but what happens though if your wife, like if Brandy found out that I knew about this at 6 months down the road when it all came out? Because it eventually comes out.
Yeah.
And then the repercussions. I wonder.
You just have a conversation with you and you go, you know what, I've known for a little bit. She's gonna say, well, why don't you tell me? And you go, because when someone tells me not to say something, I don't say it.
Okay.
I don't say it. And she's probably going to feel like, hey, your loyalty's to me, and you let her know that it is. But there are some things that you just keep to yourself unless you're on a need to know basis. And you want to know what, when people tell me that, I'm like, oh man, I wanted to know that. But you always respect that person because you know that they're just not going to spill the beans.
Right. Yeah.
Over the first juicy, drama that happens in the life.
Well, it goes into the whole, is it a bad friend? If they're sharing secrets to one up or look better than you, or because they're drama queens, that's a fake friend. But if it's something of a lot of substance that could hurt a lot of people, or is case by case, and you're telling your spouse or doing with the best of intentions, that might be looked at a little differently.
Guys, it's a controversial thing. Dwayne brings a good point. What do you guys think? You guys think that if your best friend cheats on his wife, do you think you should tell your wife, or do you think that you should keep his secrets a secret? I could see someone's argument on either way. I really could.
And I would tell everybody, go in incognito mode when you're doing your responses away from your spouses. It's a friendly little.
The reason why I'm defaulting to where I feel like my stance is because if I say something to my wife and she goes and she tells someone else, and it gets back around, and my best friend goes through a divorce because I spilled a secret of his, I'm going to lose a best friend. Now, hold on. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, well, Jimmy, if he hadn't cheated in the first place, he wouldn't have to worry about it. Another good, fair point. Another good, fair point. Sometimes, though, guys, you have to help dig a grave, and you got to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes you have to hide the bloody knife. Look, we all need someone to pull through for us sometimes, get us out of the thick. I don't condone cheating on your wife or cheating on your husband at all, but I also don't want to be wrapped up in the middle of it. There's nothing wrong with you going to that person and going, listen, keep me out of this.
That's usually mine. I'm like, what? I don't want to know.
Hey, Look, I want to be dumb to this. Because
plausible deniability.
That way I don't have to worry about my wife going, hey, you knew for 6 months, you didn't tell me. But at the end of the day, I think that it's less collateral damage. Let his house of cards fall on his own. Don't you help blow it over and kind of stay out of it. That's my fault, Wayne.
Yeah.
But another thing too, and this happens a lot with women friends, but it does definitely happen with men friends also, is that these so-called friends, they will compete with you. They'll compete with you all the time. And I'm not talking about a good competition. You guys know the competition I'm talking about, the one where you always,
like you and Rich. Yeah, the Rich, you and you guys do it for positive reasons. He calls you a wuss because you can't lift as much. You guys have a healthy competitiveness.
Correct.
You're talking about the negative, the bad ones.
I'm referring to I have to one up you all the time. Even think about this, guys. Remember the times whenever you tell you tell someone that you had something bad happen to you, and they turn right around and tell you how their day was way worse than yours. That's the kind of competition I'm referring to.
Oh, I'm already thinking about somebody right now.
Friendly competitions are just that. They're friendly. It's fun to play competitive games, sports with our pals, but good friends don't compete with each other's lives. Competition over things like jobs, attention, and even prospective dating partners is not a sign of someone who's a good friend.
Like you get a car and then the other person goes out and gets the XL model or something like that. It's always that. That's
the unhealthy. Yeah. And another one to kind of piggyback that competition is whenever that person's always jealous of you as well. You know, when you get a promotion, they're jealous. When you get a good looking girl or you're happy, they're jealous. When you get a raise at work, they're jealous. When you get a new car, like you say, they're jealous. You know, they should be the first one to pop the champagne bottle whenever something good in your life happens, but they don't do that. They give you that fake smile. They look at you and they go, oh, that's really good. And then they go out and they have to compete with you, or they just don't celebrate all your successes. A true friend recognizes that your accomplishments don't detract from their lives.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Another one too, guys, and I'm giving you guys the easy ones. We're going to give you guys some more hard ones later on. But another easy one is that they gossip about you behind your back. Those aren't friends, man.
Yeah.
Look, I've been around for a long time on this planet, 40 plus years. I'm getting closer to 50 than I am getting closer to 40. And let me tell you something I've learned. I learned a lot of stuff. This is what I've learned about my friends, okay? And it's just so weird, but damn if it ain't true. Your good friends will talk shit about you to your face and talk good about you behind your back.
Exactly.
The bad friends, they talk good to your face and talk shit about you behind your back. Tell me I'm lying.
Oh yeah, no, that's yeah. It is one again in the gaming world is an easy one, but girls don't get that, you know, because we will talk trash to each other's faces nonstop, and that's how we bond. But yeah, if you were talking smack behind someone's back, that's not a good friend. Yeah, and it seems like girls almost they do the opposite. It's really weird because they'll, oh, you know, that's so special, and then they'll, you know, trash you behind your back. Yeah, it is a big difference. And again, generically speaking, not every person in the world does it this way, but on the whole, it seems like women will talk good to your face, but then talk trash behind your back.
Right. Weird. Alicia says, if they say you didn't tell me not to tell anyone, it's an unsaid rule to keep it your secret. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I go the next level. I go, is this public information, or is this repeatable? You know, I kind of set the standard there. So, you know, if they say, oh no, this is top secret, you got to sign NDA, or, you know, it's a total secret thing, then you know, I don't say anything.
So I'm reading through the comments section. We're talking about back before when we were talking about whether or not you want to keep the secrets. So Mike sides with you. He says I'd be a Swiss in Dwayne's situation, remain neutral, advise that the friend tell his wife or girlfriend. It'll surface eventually, but that wouldn't be my war. I get it. I completely get it. And then someone named Brandy Dillon says,
who's this lady?
I don't know. She's always poking in these podcasts.
She's got a bad taste in men too. We got to talk to her about that.
I know. Look at that guy.
He's portly.
Both of them are wearing all black. Like, where were they going that day? Is that a Christmas tree behind that picture?
That was a Christmas tree. I'm trying to think what we were doing at that point. Are you
having an awful day that day? Or, I mean, it looks like you guys came from a funeral, but you're too happy to have done that.
It's maybe a couple of years old. I'm trying to think where that was, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that later. But I've lost a lot of weight since that picture was taken.
You have. Yeah, okay. You have. Yeah, you have. So, Brandy, to answer your question, I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know, if you've got a girlfriend and she wants you to swear to secrecy, and it's not going to hurt Dwayne at all or your marriage, then I don't see any problem with you keeping it a secret. I think that shows a good judge of character. But again, I want to be clear. You always default to making sure that nothing harms your marriage.
Yeah, that's the highest thing. Yeah.
And let's see what else we got here. True words, Jimmy. Thank you, my Switzerland friend. I said Sweden last time. He corrected me. All right.
We're Americans. We don't. We went to public education. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. Yeah. Yeah. There's an old joke that says, if you know 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you know 2 languages, you're bilingual. If you know 1 language, you're American.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't do too well at that. Yeah.
So yeah, but so Mike says, with secrets, I love the Navajo approach. Tell a Navajo a secret, he'll tell 20 others. They tell 20 others each. So eventually everyone knows about it, but it wouldn't lose a word about it. Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with not being on the same page. I feel the other way, but hey, I get it. You could easily make a case for both sides. All right, so let's continue. Here's another one. Speaking of Rich, right? My buddy Rich.
Yeah.
This is one that really irks him the most. I don't know if Rich is watching right now, but if he ever watches this podcast, he's going to know this one. Richie, and I don't like it either, but Richie, this really gets under his skin when you always call them first every single time.
First.
Meaning that you're always the one texting.
Oh, yeah.
You're always the one calling. They never take the initiative of asking you out. They never take the initiative of calling you or texting you. They'll respond, but they'll never do it first. And so what that makes someone feel like is that you're not really on their mind.
Right. Yeah, they have made your priority.
Yeah. So, I think at some time or another, we've all found ourselves in a position where we're always the first to reach out to our friends, right? Yeah. Sometimes your friends just take it for granted, though. Friday rolls around, they expect to hear from you. But let's see what happens if you choose not to reach out. Do they always reach out to you? Chances are the people who are truly your friends will send a text your way. Yeah. Those who aren't probably won't be. You probably won't be hearing from them.
Yeah.
So Jules just popped in. Jules, why are you late, Jules? Why are you late?
Shouldn't you have it on the alarm?
Yeah. Don't you? I mean, we got people from other countries on. Jules shows up late, but no, we're just joking with you, Jules. Welcome to the show. So, Jules, what we're doing is we're talking about how do you know when your friends are not actually your friends, and we're giving some life advice. And a lot of people in the comment section are sounding off because they've obviously been in the same situation. One thing that I've noticed, I don't get it too. I get this at work, like my work friends more than my personal friends. Mm-hmm. But I raise an eyebrow with my work friends whenever they put me in awkward situations.
Ooh, okay.
So when someone's putting you in an awkward situation, whether it's asking for a difficult favor, whether it's ditching you at a party, whether it's throwing you under the bus, whether it's, they're saving their own skin. Friends should know what makes you feel uncomfortable. And a true friend thinks about how you may look after they put you in a particular situation. So if they're putting you in situations where it's awkward, uncomfortable, then they're clearly not thinking about how it's going to make you feel or how it's going to make you look.
Right.
I mean, think about times when you're at work and the boss comes in and the boss asks a question and you give an answer and it throws you right under the bus. Yeah. And you're turning to go.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell just happened here? Yeah.
Seriously? So they save their skin and they don't care about the collateral damage after that.
Yeah. I have had a number of they throw accusations or they'll misremember something and try to throw me under the bus. And then of course I keep everything. So one of my pet peeves is, carbon copying management or more than the person involved. But when they do that first, I'm like, all bets are off at this point. And I lay it all out there and I go, here, have fun with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ones that, put you in awkward situations it's like they intentionally do it though. It's not, I can almost respect it's either me or them. And there's a chance it could have been either one of us, but you have those ones that go out of their way to make themselves look better by putting other people down or calling them out or something. Yeah.
I know enough about Dwayne to know that if Dwayne and I worked in the same workplace, I would never cross Dwayne. He's going to get your back. He's going to get your back. And
I got some memory.
You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. That guy could probably hack into your phone and share pictures and stuff across the entire email copy of the entire company. Yeah, I ain't crossing Dwayne. So going back to, remember when we talked about you're always the one reaching out first?
Yeah.
Okay. And Richie is the one that was his pet peeve. Well, this next one is my pet peeve.
Okay.
This is the one where this is how I know that we ain't really friends. And that's when you only reach out to me when you need something.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've all had that friend.
Yeah.
It's only when you need something. Sometimes a person who really isn't your friend rings you all the time. Okay.
Right.
It may seem nice until you start thinking about the topic of conversation whenever they finally do ring you. And then it always seems to boil down to them needing something from you.
Yeah, always something that they need, an emergency they put themselves in. You look at your text, and the last time they text you is to bail them out of their last issue.
Right.
and that's all you get from them is, or they want to dump on you or whatever. But yeah, it's always because they need something. Not, hey, I've got 2 tickets to the whatever, want to go, or hey, why don't you and your buddy or whatever go out and have fun. No,
they don't celebrate your successes. They don't reach out to you. Whenever you're having get-togethers, they just call you and they're like, oh, hey, and they act all nonchalant and they act like they're calling to just catch up, but then they bring the question. Sometimes they need a ride somewhere.
Right.
Sometimes they need help moving.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need a little bit of money. You know, it feels good to help your friends, but people like this never offer any help in return, even whenever you need it.
It's not reciprocated. Yeah.
It's not reciprocated, man. And guys, that is probably the best benchmark of friendship right there is it reciprocal? Are you in a symbiotic relationship? Yep. Or is it a relationship where one person just favors the other person? Is it a relationship where one person exhumes the resources, the time, the energy, the money from one host without ever giving back? And if you can think of this, we all know people like that. Well, there's one organism on the entire planet that acts in that way. You know what it is? A virus.
Oh, leech, virus.
A virus. Yeah. A virus goes from one host to the next, consumes its resources, and when it's tapped out, it moves on to the next one.
Yep.
So if anyone does that to you, they're nothing, and they're never going to help your life better. They're just a virus. What else? How about this one? They only talk about themselves. Never. They only want to talk about themselves, man.
Oh, God.
Time you hang out with them, you go to lunch with them, you talk to them in the hallway, they give you a phone call. They only want to talk about themselves, man. Strong,
and you can't change them. Like you'll say, "Hey, my dog died," or something, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember when my dog died," and then they go right back to themselves. It's like that's all they can do. It's crazy.
I know. Strong friendships, it goes both directions, just like we said. He or she would want to know what's going on in your world, not rehash what's been happening in theirs for the umpteenth time.
Yeah.
If there's nothing wrong with someone dumping what's going on in their life to you, that's part of being a friend. I pick you up, you pick me up. The problem that we have, though, is that whenever they don't ever ask how you're doing, they're dumping what's going on in their marriage onto you, but they don't ask how your marriage is, how your job's going, how your kids are doing. They just want to dump. They only want to talk about themselves.
And I will say a lot in the equal shared parenting community, there is in that category, there is a lot of that because again, these people are hurting, but a lot of times they'll jump into a text or an email or whatever, and that they just dump, and you can't change them one way or the other.
You can't. And look, one of the things that I'm happy, how do I say this? One of the things about me that I'm happy that I'm this way is I have the ability to have tough conversations with people where most of these conversations people would probably avoid them. I've had to do that a lot in my career because I've always been in leadership positions, and when you're in leadership positions, whether it's at your work or whether it's at your household, the conversations are always not kumbaya, and you have to deliver bad news or tough conversations. I know you did it just a few weeks ago with a car situation. So my point is that when you run into friendships where people are just taking advantage of you, or it's one-sided, or they only want to talk about themselves, in my personal opinion, I think that's a good time for you guys to have a tough conversation and be honest, not brutally honest, but just be honest.
Yeah.
Because it for no other reason other than it'll just be good practice for you to use it on a better, more meaningful person in the future. Mm-hmm. This friendship's not going to be a friendship that's going to last a test of time anyhow. As soon as they're no longer in your city, or no longer in your group, or no longer at your work, they're never going to call you again. They're going to fade into oblivion. Mm-hmm. So that might not be a bad idea to reach out to them, or when next time you talk to them, and just say, "Hey, look, I want to talk to you about something that's been bothering me, and I don't I don't think that you're doing it on purpose, but I know you're the kind of person that would want me to share something if something was bothering me. I know that about you. So would it be okay if I bring up something, and I want to do it in a way, like I want to bring up something that's probably not very.
Well, it's disarming. I mean, it's
Yeah.
something that where they're not going to fight back; they're going to listen to you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to bring any sort of heat. I just want to have a conversation, but I also don't want it to jeopardize our relationship or make you feel uncomfortable. How can I approach you about a conversation like that? And they might go, well, Jimmy, I don't know, just say it. Okay, fair enough. So here's what I'm thinking. I've noticed that the last few times, and maybe it's just me, whenever we're talking, we're always talking about your family. We're always talking about your kids, but I've noticed that you never ask about my family or my kids. And I kind of feel like maybe this relationship is a little one-sided or more one-sided than I would feel comfortable with. Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, is that on purpose or is it just coincidence? Like, I'm curious, why don't you ever ask about my family? Now, I don't know, maybe you guys can think of a better way of saying that. That's probably how I would say it. My tonality is certainly not threatening, and it's certainly not a very comfortable conversation, but that would probably be how I would handle that situation, how I would say it, those words and that tonality. And if nothing other than this, even if they never change their opinions, at least you feel better knowing that you got it off your chest. Yeah. And the next time you guys have a conversation, the chances are they're going to be asking you about yours. Or they just leave the conversation and go, you know what? Dwayne's a jerk. I can't believe he would say that. And then they just ignore you. And so what? It's
no loss.
No loss for you guys, I
mean,
so I would just be wary about that. Also, guys, too, when you're vetting your friends, be wary of people that bring you down. Those people are really going to they go hand in hand with the one-sided friendship where they only talk about themselves. These people here, and my female listeners, really pay attention to this one, because you guys take the brunt of this more so, because when
more emotional.
Yeah, they're more emotional, more empathetic. Yeah. So a lot of my female listeners will have friends that talk to them and dump their verbal diarrhea and just suck their energy out of them.
And that's literal. I mean, that is a literal. I was going to ask you, like, describe when you're dealing with a soul sucker. How do you feel like as the conversation progresses? I mean, I physically, like, I have to go take a nap. I mean, I know I'm old and all that, but you can just feel when you're dealing with that kind of person. You can just feel the life force. And I wish I was exaggerating. I can feel it just leaving my body, and I can't. I don't have the ability to deal with that anymore. And so when we talk about, or you're talking about, like, a draining person, that's, I assume, what you're talking about. You just feel drained.
You do. And the people who have the biggest hearts are the ones that are probably going to feel it the most, because those are the people that are probably more in tune with the empathy. Empathy is whenever you actually feel the pain that the other person's going through, their loss, their sorrow, their regret, their shame. And it makes you a fantastic friend, but you've got to watch out for it being one-sided. There's nothing wrong with leaving a conversation with someone that you truly care about or even love and leaving that relationship drained, but it can't be all the time, and it has to be reciprocated. So look for that balance. Ask yourself, does me and fill in the blank have a balanced relationship, or is it always them and maybe I need to pick up the slack, or is it always me and they need to pick up the slack? It doesn't have to be 50-50. Hell, it could be 60-40. It could maybe even be 70-30, but it can't be more than 70-30, guys. If you guys are the ones giving the lion's share of it, I don't know. Life is too damn short, and there's too many good people out there to be friends with and have someone just drain you the way that Dwayne just mentioned that. So be careful. Again, spending time together should lift you up. If he or she is enabling your worst habits or hurting your self-esteem, it's time for a change. If you leave that relationship and you feel like you have to take a nap, it's time for a change. So another one too is whenever you are talking with someone and your conversations feel lopsided. So watch out for that. This one This one can be this is a more advanced, because this one can be a tough one to put your finger on. It's often more of like a hunch, a gut feeling than a concrete type of thing. But your conversations with them just seem so lopsided. Somehow it always ends up back to them talking about themselves or elevating their own opinions above yours.
Right.
That's not the sign of a good friend. So think about those types of people. How about this one? They only say happy birthday to you on Facebook.
Oh, that just happened a couple days ago with somebody in my life. And yeah, and it's only when I reach out. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I can't even keep that one vague. Yes, that just happened. And yeah, they only reach out, or it's only on. Yeah, they put no effort into the relationship whatsoever, unless it's something that they want.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an important difference between a friend and an acquaintance. Okay. And this is a telltale sign that's this. You've got your acquaintances, right? Acquaintances are people that you might have worked with them in another job years ago. They're not necessarily, like, you're friendly together, but they're not your close friends. They're not in your inner circle. Right. They're acquaintances. Right. I'm referring to the people that you think or that you call your friend.
Right.
If your friends only say happy birthday to you on Facebook, I'm not saying you cut them right away, but that's a red flag.
Red flag, yeah.
My friends, and I've got it on my phone. I still got the voice messages on my phone. My friends call me and they sing with an awful voice.
That's love.
That's love. Gosh. I mean, they call and they sing happy birthday. And every year, I think they purposely try to sing it worse and worse. Like they just mess up. Like they purposely mess it up, because I'm going, oh God, Jesus, you sound like the bad contestants on American Idol. And they reach out and they just let you know that they think more of you than just the Facebook reminder that it's your birthday, and then they click the happy birthday button. So the people that you consider your good friends, they should be reaching out to you, and at the very least shooting you a text. So watch out for those friends that you think are friends that only say happy birthday to you on Facebook. What you got? What you looking at?
Yeah, I don't know if people. I'm sure you do, and a few others do, but we do. If I would say, if you don't receive a inappropriate birthday cake for your birthday, at least for me, then yeah, you need to question friendships and stuff like that. So we have a tradition, because we don't do the general birthday cakes. We do inappropriate birthday cakes because they're inappropriate and it's just funny. And I'm trying to find the least offensive one in the stack here, but this is what I got it was for my father-in-law to give to Brandy for her 40th birthday. I'll see if I can get that in there.
Sorry, I slept with your mom.
And I mean, yeah, we do all kinds of, that's one of our things that we do. I mean,
that's awesome.
This is a little bit risque, but it should do that. That was my father-in-law.
Titties would be pointless.
Yes. without.
Here's to nipples. Without them, titties would be pointless. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah. Yep. That was my father-in-law wearing actually his wife's bra on the boat. So we decided to get that. And yeah, we do inappropriate birthday cakes. But yeah, if you're not getting an inappropriate birthday cake from me, you might want to question the friendship.
Gotcha.
So anyway, love getting that in.
Here's one that I hear my female friends complain about a lot.
Okay.
Doesn't happen a lot with my guy friends, but the female friends that I have, they complain about this when their so-called friends post crappy photos of them. Now, hear me out.
Okay, yeah, I'm like going, oh boy, I'm in trouble now.
It doesn't happen a lot with the guys.
Okay.
So picture a group of girls, and they all take a picture together, like a group photo, okay? And you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The one where she's like, the person who posted it, she looks amazing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right? But you're blinking in the picture, or you have some obvious bad facial expression, but they post it anyhow.
Okay.
So everyone's smiling, and then you in the picture are like this.
Yeah.
With your eyes closed. But because they looked amazing in it, They don't care how you looked. They just
Okay.
post it anyhow.
And that's just for the girls.
You know, I hear the girl, my friends that are girls, I hear them complain about that a lot. So that's why I added this one to the list. You know, what it says is that they care more about how they look than how you or anyone else in the group looks. And that says a lot. That says 1,000 words right there. So, you know, if you truly care about the group, you would find a photo where everyone looks good instead of finding a photo where only you look good and everyone else looks like Duke. So here's one that guys will not, they will not deal with this one. This is another one. As I'm thinking about my friends that are girls, this is another one that I hear them complaining about. Guys won't put up with this junk, but girls, you know, I mean, you can turn on any drama show and see this one. They put you down in front of people. So you're out in a group of people, you know, and I think to some degree we've all probably experienced something like this before. You know, they're way nicer to you when it's just the two of you, but when you're in front of other people, they get edgier.
Okay.
They act a little different. They put you down. They make fun of you in ways that you know that you're sensitive to. They know what's off limits and they don't care. The daggers come out. These kinds of friends aren't really your friends at all. Friends treat you with respect and don't alter their behavior based on whether or not you're alone or with other people.
Is that more girls than
guys? It's more girls.
I was going to say guys. That's
yeah. No, you're right. It's more girls. Okay. Because generally speaking, guys are going to razz you to your face, talk great about you behind your back.
Right.
Girls, they tend to be nice to your face and do it and talk crap behind your back. But if you look at some of these reality shows, you know, when you're one-on-one, they're like, oh my God, I love you so much. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, your face. I miss your face. And then whenever you're in a group of people, you know, the claws come out and they act different. They're a different kind of person. So mostly for my female listeners listening right now, if you're in a situation where one of your friends treats you differently when you're by yourself or with you and her than she does when you're around a group of people, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
How about what's that?
Well, I'm gonna say that's kind of true with guys because I mean, you know, busting your balls one-on-one and doing it in public. I mean, if the guy's the same no matter what, that would. And I see your point though about girls doing. There's a certain thing with that, but yeah, I mean, I would just say in general though, treating a person one-on-one, you treat them the same way in public. If anything at all, you're maybe a little bit nicer, you know, because you know you might have buds that you just you razz them like crazy in private, but if you're at a work function or a whatever, and he's trying to score on a girl or whatever, you're gonna talk him up and be nice to him. But yeah, okay. I mean, I'm kind of coming around to the whole thing. It sounds for girls, it's if they're as you kind of pointed out earlier, and then when they're cutting you down and because they're wanting to they're cutting you down to make themselves look better.
That's right.
And it's just it's not right.
And Sonia says, hey, those are first world problems, and aren't you correct?
Oh yeah,
I mean, you're right, Sonia. These are first world problems, and it's embarrassing that we even have to do a damn podcast on this because that's how people act in first world countries when there's people that are figuring out when their next meal is going to be out there and how they're going to get fresh water. But here we are talking about being backstabbed at a table when we're all out to eat and we're spending $100 a head. So you're very right. Yeah. As sad as it is, but this is the world we live in, so I'm going to do a stupid podcast on how to know if your friends are really your friends. Sorry, Sonia, but you're right, my love. You are correct. How about this one? These friends, they only hang out with you whenever it's convenient for them.
Oh, or you're buying. Yeah.
How convenient. You're buying, right? I mean, look, everyone's busy, okay? Even if he or she's schedule is all booked, a real friend will fit in at least a quick coffee run. Yeah. A quick lunch or something, constantly breaking plans or showing up late to them. And that'll signal that your friendship really isn't a priority.
Yeah, mine's the showing up late. That always bugs the snot. I mean, they show up late consistently for poor reasons. That's something that bugs me because you don't value that person's time because you didn't just say, hey, I can sit around at this restaurant for 3 hours waiting on you to pull your thumb out of your ass. You couldn't we have GPS, we have ways to ensure you can get here on time and notify me if you're going to be late for good reasons, and you consistently show up 45 minutes or an hour late. Yeah, sorry, I got triggered there for a minute.
That's okay. Let's add down to the list. When they constantly show up late to events, that shows a lack of responsibility. It shows lack of respect for you.
That's the respect part of it, because they're consistently showing up or just completely blowing you off and then getting a hold of you 3 hours later, or stuff like that. That just ain't happening. That's just a huge pet peeve.
Yeah, it is a fun topic. I know we always Dwayne and I are always giving life advice, on all different kinds of aspects. I mean, and you never know what you're going to get. I mean, we're always talking about something. Okay, so this one goes. Okay, so I did a couple for the friends that are girls. Let's do one for the guy friends, right? And this goes both ways, just like the girl friends went both ways. But this one is definitely for the guys. They ain't your friend if they let you drive drunk. They're not your friend if they let you drive drunk, man.
Now, how far will you go to make sure that they don't get in that car?
Remember a couple months ago when we did one of my favorite podcasts that we did was the unspoken rules of being a man.
Yeah.
I swear I've listened to that one like 3 or 4 times. We had such a great, if you guys haven't seen the unspoken rules of being a man, go back and look at that podcast. That's a great one. And one of the things that we talked about on there is unspoken guy rule is you don't let your friends drive drunk. Yep. And to answer that question is, hey, what is too far? Remember one of the comments, I think it was Brian, B to the O. I think it was him. Mm-hmm. I think it was him. I could be wrong, but one of the guys in the comment section said that he actually got into a fist fight with his friend. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay. That's how far I take it.
Yeah. He tried to take his keys, and the guy didn't insist that he was going to drive drunk. It ended up in throwing some hands a little bit, but the guy got home safe.
I'd rather beat the crap out of you and make up with you the next day than go to your funeral.
That's right.
Yeah. Or go to someone else's funeral because you crashed into a family of 6 or something. If you couldn't hold it together.
100%. If they are your friends, then you've attended enough happy hours or get-togethers with them to know what their limits are. Mm-hmm. And if you let them or they let you drive drunk, then how can you really say they care about you?
Yeah.
Now you can easily make the argument, and you would be right if you made this argument, where it's up to you to take responsibility for yourself and know when your limit is. And if you made that argument, you would be correct. But we have people that we love around us for a fail safe, right? I mean, by that logic, then we would never be a safety net for our kids or people that we love or care about. Sometimes we make mistakes. All of us do. Even the most responsible of us have made a mistake. I've made mistakes, and I consider myself pretty damn responsible. But if I was in a situation and Dwayne allowed me to drive drunk, I'd be mad at myself first, but be like, dude, you actually let me drive home last night?
Yeah, all the different things. And again, I've been buzzed out drinking or whatever, and I think I'm okay to drive, but everyone around me is like, dude, you you drop your drawers and try to find the donkey in the back of the room, we knew something was up. So
and the best way of doing this, and I think Mike is dead on in this, is Mike says that in the beginning, if you're a true friend, you designate a driver for all the guys, and you collect keys before you get wasted. That right there, that shows, yes, you're a friend, no doubt about it, but it shows responsibility right there.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are out and you guys know you're going to drink, then one of you guys, to Mike's point, is you designate yourself as the designated driver, and then it's your job to make sure everyone gets home safe and sound.
Can I go in a kind of the same theme, probably same environment, but what happens when your bro gets beer goggles?
We talked about that one on that podcast before too. Remember that one?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you got beer goggles.
I think it's your responsibility as a friend to make sure that he does not go home with a Saskatchewan Rough Rider. You did not let him take a mud duck home, and you don't. Okay.
What if her hot friends want to take you home, and it's a 2 for How far does bro code go? Just
bro code goes at average or above looking, or above, then that's okay.
Okay.
But if she's a straight up 3, no.
Okay.
Don't, man, do not let me, like, I don't get that drunk. Not anymore. I don't get that drunk. Not anymore. I don't get that drunk. I did in my 20s and maybe early 30s. I don't get that drunk anymore. But let's just do a hypothetical. Dwayne, if I get that drunk and you see me walking out with someone who weighs more than I do, you better stop me right now. Do not allow me to do that. Don't. I will never let this go. I'll
now,
always.
Who's the better friend, though? Who's going to stop you, or who's going to film it and make fun of your ass for the rest of your life? I would play that at your funeral.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Can you imagine big old Bertha carrying me to the bedroom? I'm going to turn you out tonight. I'm like, oh, save me. Oh God. Oh man.
Oh God.
Here we go. Look. Here we go. Oh gosh. Like I said, your friends are the ones that will tell you to your damn face, I'm not only going to allow you to sleep with her, even though she's so ugly she can make a train take a dirt road, but I'm going to also film it.
Yeah, the definition of a true friend, which is it? That it's a fine line. I don't know.
Oh goodness. And I wouldn't put it past you, but you know what? Hey, payback's a bitch. Payback's a bitch, Dwayne. Don't you do me like that. Don't you do me like that. I'm not drinking around you. I'm not going to drink. Dwayne's the kind of guy who'll probably roofie me just so anyways.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So here's another one. All right. So, they're probably not your friend if they talk behind your back. We kind of already alluded to that one, right? It's a painful experience to find out that someone's been saying mean things about you when you're not around to defend yourself. Okay. Yeah. It's even worse when you find out that it's someone that you thought was a good friend. Yeah. So this point really needs little explanation. Just cut them loose because they are not your friend. They are someone who is likely just taking advantage of you and only pretends to be your friend. I don't say anything about anyone that I wouldn't say to their face. I don't. So I'm not saying that I always say the great things about people because sometimes there's not always great things to say. But I would have that conversation with that person. I'm not talking smack behind their back. Another thing too is, and this one right here, I think it really holds true for the guys. Okay. This is one that a lot of guys will be like, yep. My girls too, but the guys. They're your real friend when they don't sugarcoat the truth.
Yeah.
White lies might be polite, but you, especially men, would rather know the truth than be told a lie that makes you feel good about something that you've done or said.
Right.
Sugarcoating the truth to spare having a tough conversation may not exactly mean that they aren't your friend, but it does show their level of friendship. You see, when you're close with someone, you generally want them to succeed. So you understand that by telling them white lies that make them feel good, it's not going to correct the behavior. If anything, it makes them feel justified to continue the behavior that won't bring them the success that they were hoping for or looking for. The challenge with being honest is that you might hurt feelings or jeopardize a relationship with certain people. We know that.
Yeah.
But people who don't feel close with you won't likely risk that. They'll play it safe and they'll tell you what you want to hear so that way they can keep you in their life for whatever gain they get from having you around.
Yeah.
Now, compare that with a close friend. Your close friends will know they'll be around for many years to come. So your successes or your success is important to them because they genuinely care for you. They have a bond with you and a respect for you that won't allow them to just lie to spare your feelings. Even if the truth gets you down, they stay right there beside you and pick you up. dust you off, and encourage you to get back in the fight.
Any examples?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's been times when whether I'm dating someone that my friends go, look, let me just be honest with you. She ain't the one because of A, B, C, D reason. Or, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Last week you said this, or you acted this way, or you did this, and it wasn't a good look, Or, hey, I've been offering you advice a lot, and I noticed that you're not taking the advice, and you're running into the same behaviors as you always have. And I mean, I remember there's a friend, I'm not going to say who, but there's a friend of mine who dates back to 94, I think, him and I, 92. We were kids. We were just young.
God, graduated.
Yeah. We were young. And he's been a genuine good friend. I could call that guy up at 3:00 in the morning and say, hey, my car's broken down. He'd say, where are you? I love this guy. He has been there through there. He's been with me through thick and thin for many, many years, right? The thing about this friend, I'm trying to be respectful. I don't want to tip his problems too much, though, is as we grew up into men, he never truly grew up. When we were roughhousing and punching each other in the arms and wrestling, at 40 years old, the guy still wants to roughhouse and wrestle and do all those things. He just never seems to really grow up. And when he got into the workforce, he lost some pretty prestigious positions at work that took him many years because he's still out there drinking, and he's still going to clubs, and he's still going to bars, and he's still hanging out at the bowling alley drinking beers because it's $5 pitcher night or whatever. It's like, dude, grow up. Well, unfortunately, the alcohol turned into drugs, and the drugs turned into the heavy drugs. And he has children, and it affected his marriage, and he got a divorce, and it went downhill after that. He called me from a rehab center one day, and I think it was because it was part of his rehabilitation where you have to call people that you love and kind of confess. And I was one of those on his list. And he kind of said, hey, Jimmy, I've been doing coke. I've been doing X. I've been doing like these hard drugs, and I've been doing them for some time. And I felt violated because I've been around him and I didn't see it. I didn't think that he was doing that. I thought he was a functioning alcoholic, but I didn't know he had went that far.
Wow.
The reason why I say that is because I had that tough conversation with him, and I told him, I said, look, life is far too hard to screw it up in this way. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I love you, and I will always be your friend, but it doesn't mean I'm always going to be associating with you or hanging out with you.
Right.
If you want to be in my inner circle, you can't behave in this way. I will always be your friend, but not in the same capacity. My friends don't do coke on the weekends.
Right.
My friends don't get drunk 2 out of 4 weekends a month. So if you want to remain a part of my ride or die, my inner circle, where I want you to be and where I expect you to be, then you're going to have to behave like an adult. And how you've been behaving is not like, if it wasn't for the fact that you and I have 30 years of friendship together, I wouldn't associate myself with you.
Right.
And look, that was hard to say. And it was probably harder to hear. But I didn't sugarcoat the honest truth. I told him what he needed to hear, and he got himself clean, and he's been clean for about 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying it was because of my conversation. It was probably one of many conversations that he probably had to have in order for him to make that change. But I did not lie to him and tell him that no matter what he does, I'll always be there for him. I told him that I will be judging him for it. He will be judged by his children, his wife, his friends, his co-workers, and his employers. Life is going to judge your actions, and there will be consequences for that. And the consequences of you continuing down this road is I can't associate myself with you because you are who your closest friends are.
Right. Yeah,
And
so
life
like
is too
a
damn
true friend.
hard. Yeah. So that's what I mean. You know, if you're a true friend, or if you want to know if you have a true friend, the friends that are able to have tough conversations with you,
Okay.
those truly are your friends. And I think that everyone listening to this right now, some of you may not agree with how I handled that. Maybe you didn't, but
That was awesome.
but I think that all of you guys should at least respect where I was coming from. And at the very end, I think you guys still know that even though you don't know the name of this person or the history behind him and I think you guys all know that I love that guy.
Yeah.
Even through what I said, you know that I love that guy.
Out of love. I mean, you said because the behavior he was doing was bad. That's a true friend and saying, "Hey, dude, quit doing this stuff." And you know what? I can't be around you if you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's a healthy boundary. That's being a great friend. Because, yeah, you could be like, oh, dude, I'd love you no matter what. Yeah, you want to do a line of Coke over my house? Awesome. And then you get in trouble. But you're not a true friend at that point because you're aiding him going down that bad path again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no.
Remember how we were talking about one way to figure out if a friend of yours that you think is your friend and may not be your friend is when they talk about you behind your back? Remember we talked about that?
Yep.
Well, another telltale sign too, and you got to watch out for this one. This one's a little more advanced, but not too advanced. You guys will understand this. You got to watch out for when they talk about other people behind their backs too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got a friend that's gossiping about things, people, and saying mean things about other people behind their backs, you got to stop and ask yourself, how likely is it that they're doing this to me as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we both know the answer, right? We both know the answer. You might want to consider cutting them loose. Trust me, if they're talking shit behind everyone's back, you know they're going to talk about you behind yours.
All right.
You know, listen and watch how people act when the people that they're talking about is not able to defend themselves. Watch and listen to how people treat other people when they're dealing with people that can't cause them harm. Like a vice president that walks the halls of your employer, and if he treats the janitor with the same respect as he treats the regional vice presidents, you know that's a good man or a good woman.
Right.
But if they treat the janitor different than they treat the people that can do them harm, because the janitor can't do anything to the VP.
Right.
He can go and file all the complaints he wants. We know how politics work. The janitor can't cause any harm, but maybe a regional VP who's under him, enough of them could cause him harm. So if he's a bad person, he'll probably treat the people who can cause them harm better than the people who can't. Watch out for those kinds of people and judge them on what they say about these people when those people are not around to defend themselves. Another thing too is be careful with friends that judge you or over criticize you. Now understand that we all make mistakes, right? A good friend will help you move on, but they're not going to criticize your actions, and then they're not going to be overly critical of you. Right. So just kind of watch out for that. Another one too is if they exclude you a lot, right? This one has the capacity to hurt more than some of the others that I mentioned on this list, because these kinds of friends exclude you from activities, making the claim that, yeah, you wouldn't want to do it anyway. You know, it's one of those subtle things. You got to watch out. This is an advanced one right here. Or even just not justifying it at all. They just exclude you altogether without even trying to justify why they've done it. Friends who exclude you from group activities with mutual friends is especially hurtful. These people aren't your real friends. Right. If you've got common friends and you're excluded from that list, you've got to ask yourself why. Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Yeah. If you're excluded, it's not like they're just wanting to have opportunities, or they really don't want to associate with you, or who knows?
Janitor can't do you any harm. Have you ever walked on a wet floor or a waxed one?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Fair point. And it looks like Mike put a couple in here. Let's read it what it is. At Sonia Scrapbook. Guess as soon as a friend is identified as feminine, he no longer is a friend for us men, or at least for me, it's a one strike and one out rule. maybe there's a conversation that we missed or something.
Talking about a friend. There's frenemies. Someone had mentioned. Yes, a little bit higher, but yeah. If you got a frenemy, it's a supposed friend, but then they're kind of an enemy.
This is the comment that you put. Are feminities a female phenomenon, or are men not aware of their friends or being fake, passive aggressive, or giving them backhanded compliments? No, I think it goes both ways, Sonia. Yeah. It's just that it's more predominant in the female one of it. Guys really don't have frenemies. They really don't.
Yeah.
I personally cannot think of one. I'm not saying there never has been, but yeah, I mean, it really happens way more on the female side than the guy side. Guys, generally speaking, when guys have an issue with you, they'll say it to your face.
Yep.
You'll know, because guys will do one of two things mostly when they don't like you. They will either say it to your face and you'll know and plain as day they don't like you, or they just ignore you.
Yeah.
If a guy is picking on you, he likes you.
Exactly.
If he just is indifferent to your presence at all, he don't like you. So he will either bow up and say, listen, I don't like you. I don't like your face. I don't like how you act, and stay away from me. Or he'll take a more passive approach that we've all done to kind of not rock the boat or make the situation uncomfortable for everybody by just ignoring you altogether.
Yep. Yeah.
So, all right. So how about we got a few more. I got two more for you guys. They pressure you. So this is what I mean by that. People pressure each other to do things all the time. So keep in mind that, it's a pretty natural part of human interactions. We want people to do the stuff we want them to do so we can bond over it, which we push people to do. We push people to be better versions of themselves. But there's a little peer pressure, and then there's excessive pressure.
Right.
You'll know when it happens to you, because no one should be hectoring you every single time they see you about doing something you don't want to do, don't want to say, having a conversation you don't want to have. It can be tough when you've made the determination that your friend really isn't a friend, to let them go, but you're going to be better for it. Your friends know your limits. Your friends know your comfort zones. Right. And if they're pressuring you to do something, then it's probably because they have a vested interest in you doing this.
Right.
They want you to take the hill. They're not going to fight with you, but they're okay watching you go fight the fight for them.
Right.
So that's kind of what I mean. And I've got one last one too. And this is one that I think we've all been a part of, both men and women. And that is when the other person that you thought was your friend gives up on the friendships after just a meaningless fight. They just give up. One fight and they're done. No longer your friend. Look, guys, gals, life's too short to hold grudges. Okay? Swallowing your pride and offering a sincere apology goes a long way. If a person gives up on your friendship after a subtle, stupid, meaningless fight, then they really weren't your friend to begin with.
Yeah.
There is a book that I would like for you guys to read if you guys ever have time. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by a man named Stephen Covey. In there, I use this a lot in my teachings and my coachings with people. I talk about what's called an emotional bank account. Okay. Think about a relationship with your kids, your wife, or even a friend of yours. And here's how I want you guys to do it. Think of this as very linear, a bank account. Let's say that you and let's use Dwayne and I for an example. Okay. Dwayne and I are friends. Every time we do a podcast together, it's a deposit into our friendship's emotional bank account. Every time we play video games together online, he shares something that he's going through and I help him. I share something I'm going through and he helps me. Those are deposits into our friendship. Now, it's going to build over time, just like a bank account would build. You throw $5 into it, give it enough time, you've got thousands of dollars into it, right? It's a slow building of it. If I say something cross to him, or I'm in a bad mood and I'm just a jerk that day, it doesn't mean that I've bankrupt the entire bank account. Right. That's a withdrawal from it, but it's a small withdrawal. And Dwayne would be like, he's just having a bad day. But right. I've seen 160 good days with him, and he has one after every couple hundred. No big deal. He's human. I'm human. He's having a bad day. I deposited out of that bank account, but it wasn't large enough to bankrupt the bank account. Now, if I did something big, something to offend him greatly or humiliate him or do something to someone that he loves, friends, family, those are large withdrawals, and one could bankrupt the entire thing. A man and woman in a relationship, you could be building for years and years, and one person cheats on the other, and that could be a large enough withdrawal to where the relationship can't continue anymore.
Right.
It all depends on that person. So what I mean is that if you look at a relationship or a friendship in that way, if you're depositing and they're depositing, and they felt that one small little meaningless fight bankrupted the entire thing, then they never cared about your friendship to begin with and never meant much to them. So that's what I think. Dwayne, you got anything before we adjourn?
No, I mean, spot on. I like the bank account. I mean, it's a very, deposit or debit credit, and you should be investing in relationships, depositing money into that relationship.
Yeah.
And don't call it a day. If we're playing zombies and you're kind of in a quiet mood, there may be a reason for it. And usually if you know each other well enough, you're like, hey, Jimmy, what's going on here? Or, hey, Dwayne, so you sound kind of quiet. You sound a little whatever. What's going on? And then, and you guys, talk about it. That's actually one of the things. I'm going off in a whole different direction, but that one of the things about like women in general that kind of irks me is that like they'll always say stuff like, I'm done. Like I'll see two women fighting and they're like, I'm done with you and whatever. And to a guy, I'm like, oh, okay, so you guys are done. That's just the way it's going to be. And that it was good while it lasted and gone. No. Like a week or two later, they're back at it and doing whatever until the next time. I never got that. It was weird.
That's true. Good point. I've heard that before too. So in closing, folks, recognizing when your friends may not truly be your friends can be a challenging but essential aspect of personal growth. So I want you guys to remember that your time and your energy is valuable. Mm-hmm. Surrounding yourself with genuine connections is crucial for your well-being. As you and I navigate the intricacies of friendship, trust your instincts. Pay attention to the signs that we've discussed today, whether it's inconsistency, lack of support, or a feeling of just being used. Understanding the red flags that Dwayne and I have labeled out today empowers you to make an informed decision about the relationships in your life. Friendships are a two-way street. It's built on trust, respect, and mutual support. So as you reflect on your own experiences and your own friendships, take the time to nurture the connections that bring positivity and authenticity to your life. And if you find yourself facing the realization that some friendships may not be as genuine as you once believed, know that it's okay to reassess and prioritize those who uplift and value you. So, guys, I want to thank you for being a part of today's conversation. Remember, your journey is authentic connections. Your journey to authentic connections is ongoing, and each step that you guys take is a step towards a more fulfilling and meaningful social circle. So until next time, take care of yourself and those who truly cherish this amazing person that you are. You deserve to have good friends, and life is far too short. Before you guys hang up, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. The Big Show podcast with Dwayne and Jimmy Smith is here every Sunday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We always appreciate you guys' comments, you guys' interactions. You guys are my friends, so I appreciate you. And we'll see you guys here next week on another episode of The Big Show. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.